Bert, if you are in the process of estate planning, this will be good advice for you.
Yes, now's the time to be thinking about naming a beneficiary. Joining us live this afternoon is our favorite certified financial planner, Andrea Kay from Preferred Financial Group. All right, what do we need to know about naming somebody who gets our stuff should something happen to us?
Well, what you want to know is if you have kids that it might feel like the right thing and the simplest thing to name them as either your primary or your contingent beneficiary, since they're the ones you love and who you'd like to get your inheritance or your assets. But it can really cause a big problem if you name a minor, because most companies and in the state of Wisconsin, they won't pay it to a minor. So it either goes to a conservator or a guardian, and if you haven't appointed them beforehand, it can be really, really sticky.
It can be a mess, end up in the wrong hands, that kind of a thing. What about leaving money to someone who's going to then take care of the child? Instead of it being appointed, you pick somebody.
Sure, and it's typical that people might say, oh, I'll leave it to my sister. I'm sure that she'll take care of my kids. Well, they have no legal obligation to do that, and you want to feel that everyone will do the right thing, but it's better safe than sorry, and get some things in place ahead of time to get that all taken care of.
All right, let's say your kid is in that range of 18 to 21, where on paper they may be old enough to qualify for some of these things. Still not the best idea?
In the state of Wisconsin, you are at 18, you're no longer a minor, so you're able to get those assets. But I don't know about you, but what I would have done with the money at 18 and what I would do with that money now are very different things. People often set up estate planning documents that may allow money to be paid out at different stages of life. So maybe some for education, some later, you know, maybe 21, 25 tend to be typical ages that they release funds. Some people even delay it further if their children are older, but they don't think they're responsible to handle it.
Yeah, you don't want to give it all to them at the age of 18.
You don't. And keep in mind, when you have things like a brand new baby that you just have, that's everyone's first instinct is I need to make sure I update my beneficiaries, but what they don't do is go have a trust created or have a testamentary trust put into their will where it can be paid. So that's a big mistake. And also keep in mind, if you get married, if you get divorced and maybe you don't care for your spouse or what your ex-spouse or what they would have done with the money, make sure that you appoint somebody different to take care of the money. Otherwise, they are the guardian, and by default, they also would receive the money.
How often do you need to update something like this? And anytime there's a major life change, or do you need to come to this regularly?
Well, I always make sure that people have not only a primary, but a contingent beneficiary. You know, some people will check just that they want their estate to be the beneficiary, or they just want their children per stirpes, which means in equal shares. But make sure they're named individually, and make sure that you can even add a third level, a tertiary beneficiary if you need to. Every time you change a job, update it. If you get married, somebody passes away, make sure that you change it, because if you don't, you could really wind up having things going places that you wouldn't like them to go.
I just ran across old paperwork the other day that's old. It needs to be updated. My beneficiaries, I went, oh, okay.
That's right.
I don't know him anymore.
Well, no, it wasn't that drastic.
And your son would be disappointed.
Andrea, thanks. Have a question for the experts, email them. Ask the expert, today's TOJ4.com. You can also leave a voicemail, the number 967-5253. You can always name